It's not about activity. It's about knowing Christ. I wrote a blog. It's the second one down on our website, which is llifellowship.yolasite.com. And if you're watching this video, you're on that site. But I wrote a blog that says, know, be, and do. The only way we can do anything for God is to know Him. You cannot be married to somebody and not join with them in the sexual union. That's not marriage. To have two people living in the same house, that's not marriage. They have to have the same purpose. They have to have the same direction. It's not compromise. It's the will of God for a husband and a wife to be together, for the husband to be the head of his wife, to love her, to give himself away for her, to nurture her, to cover her, to protect her, to show her what humility and meekness and gentleness is all about, like Jesus, to be a servant, to scrub the floor, to take care of the kids, to change diapers, to put up with her emotional swings. That's a head. That's what a head does, and there's a purpose behind it. The wife is to respond. She's to respect her husband, to honor her husband for what he has to do, because he has to give an account for everything, for the affairs of the home. Ephesians deals with that topic. Unless you know Christ and then come into union with Christ and become one with Christ and become a little Christ, you can't do anything for Christ. We rush past all that. We try to get people saved. We try to get them into something. We try to tell them everything's going to be okay now. Life's never going to be better. Now you're a Christian. Come to our church, tithe, and everything will be fine. Baloney. Bullcrap. That is not salvation. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is Lord of this earth, of every nation. And He's going to be Lord of you, or He's not Lord at all. So we're going to talk about the faith that saves. The faith that changes lives. And we are not going to plant churches that don't have the faith that is part of this new birth, this spiritual birthing that we talked about with Nicodemus. That you cannot even see or understand a word that I'm saying unless your eyes have been opened to see the kingdom of God, the invisible but yet very real kingdom of God. The Lord's Prayer is, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Holy, sanctified, set apart is your name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. That kingdom is invisible. It cannot be seen. But how do you become a member of that kingdom? Those of you who are Gentiles, those of you who are lost, you are postmoderns, you have been raised in a culture where there is no absolute truth. How do you, who have never even read a Bible, don't even know where Genesis is, don't even know where Revelation is? You are far off. You're far from the promises. You're far from the truth. You've not been raised in a Christian home like I was. You've not heard messages, beautiful messages about Jesus Christ since you were a little child. But the Lord wants to bring everybody near, but He brings them all near the same way. The Jew that was right there at the temple, who was a Pharisee, who was ministering sacrificially to the Lord, who was tithing and giving and praying and quoting Moses. These guys needed to be brought near by Jesus Christ, by faith in Jesus Christ. And the Gentile, pagan, dogs, the Goyim, they were brought near by Jesus Christ to become one new man in Jesus Christ. That's what Ephesians talks about. We're going to talk about saving faith. You're going to get tired of hearing me say that. You're going to think, Jonathan, why are you so animated about it? Because there is a faith that saves. And it literally moves you. Your soul and your whole personality and everything that you are, your destiny, your eternal destiny changes. Your blood changes. The Spirit of God, when He saves you, convicts you of your sin, that you are corporally dead. You're a dead sinner. Ephesians 2:1 says, you who were dead in your trespasses and sins. Who is that? Everybody. We've all been reckoned as dead men. You come out of your mom's womb dead. There's a stamp dead. As far as God's concerned, you're dead. Yeah, you're a baby and you're laughing and you're smiling or you're crying and you're sucking and getting nourishment and you're growing, but you're dead. You have a destiny for the grave. That's the reality of all that is before you. People can tell you, you can do anything, you can do this, you can do that, you're great, you're wonderful, but you're dead. You're going to die. I'm going to die. The smartest retirement plan that you can start investing in now is your faith plan for your heavenly inheritance. That's what matters. And Ephesians chapter 2 verse 1 goes on to say in 2, it says, "You formerly walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince and the power of the air." You wake up every day listening to the voices of culture. Every culture has a lie, many lies. America has their lies. We're not a Christian nation. You got to get that in your head. We are not a Christian nation. We are pagan. We are Babylon. We are run by the world system. The one world government is over us. It's over Europe. It's over Africa. It's over China. And it's formulating a plan to bring it all together under one leader. Stop thinking that you're going to redeem America. I love America. I love the freedoms that I have and the privileges I have as an American citizen. I am a blessed man, just like Paul was a blessed man to be a Roman citizen, and it saved his neck when it needed to be saved so he could continue to preach the gospel. And America allows me to preach the gospel. That's what makes America special. It doesn't tyrannize me. I can sit here on my land and preach the gospel and broadcast it on the internet, and at present not worry whether I'm going to be hunted like a dog. The days may change, and I pray they don't, because Timothy tells me to pray for rulers, leaders, and kings and authorities that we may live a peaceable life and a quiet life, that we may be able to run and preach the gospel. That's what we're supposed to be doing. America's blessed. We can preach the gospel here. But you try to preach it publicly. I'm using the internet for a reason, because I preach publicly in our small little town. And I found out that there's a force against preaching the gospel publicly. If you're going to occupy. See, it's one thing for an itinerant minister to fly through a town and preach the gospel and declare things over the town and so forth and so on, tell people judgment is coming, and then disappear. But we live here. This is our town, Pilot Mountain. We love this town. Our children go to the public schools here. We're involved. We're involved in the society. We're involved in the affairs of the town as much as we can be, because that's what the Lord has shown us we need to do. So I'm preaching the gospel several ways. Through my children and their lives, I'm preaching the gospel as a man who has a reputation as somebody who's a radical, even though I'm just, like I said, a man of faith. I'm just doing what Jesus is telling me to do, leading me, guiding me, just like he did Abraham. My wife's leading by example, and she's sharing one-on-one with people about her faith. But we cannot boldly proclaim that yet on the streets of Pilot Mountain without people thinking we're strange. But we're talking about the kingdom that never ends. We're talking about the thing that's eternal. We're talking about the best retirement plan in the world. And the way you acquire it is by faith. And the same faith that you need today to be saved, and I pray for some of you right now, that if you were struggling with whether or not God is real or Jesus was an historical true figure, that he was Messiah, I'm telling you he is. You look at this person. I am formerly a blasphemer. I am formerly a hypocrite in the way of religion. I put religion above loving people. And I hate the way I moved. And now the Lord has shown me that I need to love everybody. That I'm not going to form doctrinal arguments that separate me from people unnecessarily. That I'm going to preach Jesus Christ and only Jesus Christ, which is a lot of doctrine, which is we're getting to in Ephesians. But it doesn't divide, it brings together. See, truth joins one Lord, one faith, one baptism, and doctrines that are attempts of men to try to formulate who God is divide. We preach the Bible, we preach Jesus Christ, we preach the book. Can you imagine what Paul felt like if he knowing that these words were inspired by God, when he wrote them specifically for a church in a place called Ephesus, a place with tremendous pomp and circumstance, big gods over the whole city, pagan idolatry running amok, all kind of division, proud, arrogant men taking the city by storm. And he said, God's Priscilla and Aquila are there. They're doing the work of one-on-one ministry or however they operate, their home church. And I said,